Right. Today we'll see how to set up the Weblogic server environment. Okay.
Okay. That Oracle, you told that some Oracle software has to be installed.
I didn't tell you any Oracle software. Oracle Weblogic server only, right? There is no need of any other Oracle software.
Okay.
Weblogic server need only. Right. So before that, let's we see the system requirements.
Okay.
The first one, hardware, software requirements. And, so download Java. Next, so download the
Yeah.
Weblogic server installer file. Download the HTTP server. Anyone, example Apache. Next. I'm getting noise again. It is started.
Okay.
Download.
Just just a second.
Download some top 40 softwares. Like example, MQ if required. Right. These are the software requirements. Next, I'm moving to the hardware requirements. So in that first one, RAM. 1 GB is enough
Okay.
generally, but 2 GB is recommended.
Okay.
So processor, 1 gigahertz CPU processor speed is required. Hard disk. So the complete WebLogic server installation which requires 3.5 GB hard disk, but for practicing purpose which requires the 20 GB.
Okay.
Then next. So temporary memory, in other words, swap memory which requires the 250 MB. And so for installing the WebLogic server in remote Linux system, so which we need to be set the color bit depth. 8-bit colors or 256 colors. See, by default, all the Windows systems which are going to support the GUI mode, right?
Yeah.
But for remote Linux systems cannot support by default, which can install using the console mode. To do that in a GUI mode installation for the remote Linux machines, generally we can set the 8-bit colors or 256 colors, and you can download the suitable JDK and as well as database. So all these are the system requirements actually before you are setting up the logic server environment in the Linux machine. Understood? Then after that,
Yeah.
finally, what I need to do, how many ways you can able to set up the Linux server, how many ways you can able to install, right? So there are following ways actually. There are following ways. Once I download it, so what are the ways generally we will have? So installation methods generally, modes of installations. I'm getting nice, Mr. Boyan again.
This nearby we have a road. Whenever the vehicles are moving,
Right, okay. So modes of installing. The first one using GA mode. Second one using control mode. Third one using silent mode. Right. These are the modes of installation. Let us we see first 32-bit operating system. Later we'll able to see the 64-bit operating system. First, what we need to do, connect to the target system, and there you can able to check about the JDK, and then after go to the downloaded Weblogic server installer path and issue the following command: dot slash wls 1036 underscore linux 32.bin hyphen mode. Okay, which mode you are going to be installed? GA hyphen log. Generally, it's a optional parameter to track the installation process. Home Linux, and where you want to store that log file, you can give a path.
okay.
So you can issue the command. So thereafter it is going to produce the results and go on like that. So let's use process. Let's do that. See, generally what will happen, GUI mode means all the Windows machines which are going to be supports, GUI mode of installations. And coming to the Linux part, all the Unix or Linux systems generally, if those are local, in the sense it has going to support the GUI mode. If it's the remote Linux system machine, it cannot support the GUI mode. So we need to install a host again, and we need to do that installation using the GUI mode again. Right. So I'm opening the terminal. See, I already downloaded, Weblogic server file,
Okay.
the PWD and ls. See here, WLS 1036 Linux 32.bin. Right. So what I need to do?
Yes.
And first, whenever you are doing the first time installation, you have to give a permissions also. Otherwise, permission denied issue will able to get. Then after the dot slash, so if one mode equal to GA, if one log equal to G dot log, right? Under the path it is going to be stored. I'm just issuing that command, so it has going to be extracting. After a few seconds, it will get the welcome screen.
Okay. Mode equal to GUI and icon log. That is a command. Is it?
It's a command. Up to here, it's command. Generally, this is what actually optional parameter I'm talking about. So if it does not give, also doesn't matter. Even this is, if you does not specify, by default it will take the GUI mode. These two parameters does not specify means by default it will take the GUI mode.
Okay. What hyphen mode equal to GUI if it is does not if it doesn't specify also it directly takes as GUI.
GUI mode. If you want to go with the different modes, then we need to be specific.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So it will get the welcome screen. Click on next. See, generally choose the middleware home directory. I'm selecting create a new middleware home. So home Linux Oracle. So what is my home name? Generally, entity home, right? And click on next.
Yeah.
Under that path, my middleware has going to be installed. Click on next. See, there's telling already there that.
Yeah. You have already installed it earlier, right? That's the reason it's yeah.
The
For
reason
me it won't show. Yeah.
for you, it does not get like that. If you have already, then you are installing under the same path. It has throws such kind of issues actually. Right.
Okay. Now you are changing some other path.
No, I'm just changing the middleware home. IBM home. Click on next.
Okay.
So C is register for the security updates. In the sense, if you have the support username and password for getting the security updates, you can register here. If you does not have, you can unselect and click on next and choose the install type, whether it may be typical or custom. If you choose the typical, generally what will happen, all the components and products, the default components, without asking, it is going to be installing complete default products and components. If you choose the custom, generally it is going to be showing all the options, which is required and which does not require. You can select and you can deselect all the components and products. Select the custom, choose the software products and components to install, perform the optional configuration. So it will be get like this. If you want, you can select like this. And if you want, you can unselect. See, if you select the typical, it won't display that window. Directly it will go to the next step. That is about the typical and custom. Understood? Select the custom.
Yeah.
Click on next. Choose the product installation directories, which is not required and which is required. Click on next. See, it is a way specific installer. There is a reason JDK which is already bundled with this software. Then which is already selected JDK and I click on next. Choose the product installation directories. Weblogic server products which are going to be installed under this directory by default, and we never change the default path. If you want, you can change it. Click on next and view the installation summary. Okay. If you have any changes, click on the previous and do the changes and click on next and give the, do the installation summary. Then click on next means that's going to start the installation. Same process we have to be doing a different methods.
Okay. This is 11g, no? I mean, for me, 11g in brackets it is showing 10.3.6.
That is what version. The next version only 12c.
Okay.
10.3.1 to 10.3.6 you can call it as 11.
Okay. And whenever the interviewer asks, we can say the command that you have, that we.
12c also I will show you. You just wait.
Okay.
Just wait.
Okay. Okay.
So this look and the pages and all those which are going to be changed and some features which are added into the roles.
Okay.
That you will get complete clarity in version differences actually. Right. So installation completed. So unselect this one and click on done button. So the installation was successfully completed. How I can come to know it was installed successfully? Go to the log file and you can verify. That is one method. See,
Okay.
the installation was successful.
Successful.
Then otherwise, go to the specified path. Oracle, IBM Home. See, which is installed successfully, right?
Yeah.
This is second way of verifying. And this is first method. And second method means console mode. See, console mode means generally it is an interactive mode of installation, and most of the WebLogic server administrators which is preferred to do the WebLogic server installation using the console mode only by selecting the options, by selecting the integer options. So for getting the next, you can type the next or n. For getting back, generally you can type the previous or p. For exiting, you can type exit or e. For selecting the options, you can give the integer values 1 or 2. So this is interactive method and most preferable method. And go to the WebLogic server installer downloaded path and give the command like this console -log and
Okay.
this changing under that path it is going to be stored in a different log. So this is a command to install WebLogic server in a GUI. The moment I issue this command, extracting and it will get the so welcome screen on the Linux console only. This time you won't get any results.
Okay. Here we need to give only commands because in Linux.
Yes, there is no F double clicking. Right, you'll get the welcome screen right here. So I already told you.
Yeah.
For going next, click on N, right? Even you can type the complete word also. See,
Okay.
it is going to be asking choose the middleware home directory. See, whenever you can find option with arrow mark means it's a default option. And option with star
Mhm.
mark means it's a mandatory option.
Okay.
Next one, it is going to be choosing the middleware home generally. The default it is going to be showing. Like that you have to be enter where you want to install the middleware. In which
Mhm.
part?
Okay. Okay.
Right. Control home. Understood?
Yeah.
It took our own home actually, whatever we have entered. And click on next.
Mm.
So it is going to be asked for the register for security updates. If you does not have, press 3 and no and yes. Click on next. See there are choose the install type, typical or custom. So if it does not choose anything, you just click on the next means it will take the default options only. Right? Click
Yes.
on next. See, choose the product installation directories by default which is going to install under those directories. So click on next. So review the summary. This much space is required actually. So all these components which are going to be installing, right? All these
Yeah.
components. And
By default, if you click next, the default one will be selected, you said, but that was not displayed on the console. I
what was
mean,
not displayed?
you earlier you said that for typical or custom
Mm-hmm.
or for the WebLogic versions also,
Mm-hmm.
you just gave next n.
Mm.
But by default, it is not showing that by default it is going to select this and this.
See, typically it will select by default. What is their option here? Arrow mark.
Typical, yeah,
I'm
typical.
not specifying anything. Click on next means it will select the typical. By default, all the components and products it has going to be selects and installs. If you
Okay,
choose the
the next
different one,
one,
same here. If it is
versions.
a GA mode or
Mhm.
console mode, whatever it is, same the process. What is the version here? Where do you find the version? Where do you find your version? See, if you does not choose like one or two, if I am not entering any integer values to select the options, I'm just clicking on the next means default options it will take.
Okay.
If I choose specifically, then it will choose that one. That is I am explaining here. So where is that versions and all those? What is these versions? Where do you have versions? All those. This one you're talking about. See, 1.1, all these you can select. It depends on the requirement. This is the estimated size which is required. And if you go 67.5 MB estimated installation in custom, if you go to the back and I didn't select one and click on next, see the space has going to be changes because default all it has going to be installing. Able to see?
Okay. Yes, yes.
Then click on next. It has going to be start installing the WebLogic server.
Okay.
So in 12c there was no console mode installation which was removed. Only two
Okay.
methods, GA mode and silent mode.
Okay.
Right. Installation is complete, right? So click on
Yeah.
V, it is going to be exits. See, you will get the same directory structure. Understood? This
Yeah.
is how you are going to be installing using the console mode. And second method, how you can able to verify, go to the
Logs.
logs, where do you
Logs.
specify. But from 12C onwards, no need to be specified. On the wizards only, it is going to be showing.
Okay.
The installation was successful.
Successful.
Then going with the third method, so silent mode installation. So what is the silent mode installation and when we require? It's an important interview question. What is the silent mode installation and when we require the silent mode installation? Understood?
Yeah.
For installing the WebLogic server using the silent mode, which we need to be prepared the silent.xml file. Silent mode installation is nothing but it is a non-interactive method of installing your software that requires the use of XML properties generally. So what we can able to do in the silent mode, so it's a way of setting the installation configuration only once and using those configurations to duplicate the installations on many machines, right? So we need
Yeah.
to be prepared the silent.xml file, all the mandatory parameters which we can able to specify in the silent.xml file in XML format. So then after that we can issue the following command like this, like hyphen mode, but additionally you will get here silent underscore XML. In the sense where you are getting that XML file, that path, that parameter you can able to get here. And what are the reasons to install or what is the purpose of the silent mode installation? In other words, when we will go with the silent mode installation. The first one, silent mode installation is a way of setting the installation configuration only once and then using those configurations to duplicate the installation on many machines, right? That
Yes.
is one method, one purpose. Second situation, generally, whenever you are, the WebLogic server clusters could be installed or implemented only on homogeneous environments. In the sense, from lower version to higher version, whenever you are upgrading, so that time we will be able to go with the silent mode installation. And third one, when one huge project, whenever you are migrating from one physical location to another physical location, like example, so I'm the client. I gave a services to the TCS earlier. Okay, so I want to. I mean,
Okay.
this time generally I don't want you or I don't want you to the TCS generally. I will give this time to the Infosys. Okay, where I have my source data,
Okay.
all my applications data, where I have in TCS, right? So how you are
Yes.
going to be migrated from source environment to target environment, complete WebLogic server production information. You just recreating everything from source to destination. So at that case, we will go with the silent mode installation. These are the three situations to go with the silent mode installation. Understood clearly? So how you
Yeah.
can able to prepare it should be like the silent.xml file. See, input field, data value, middleware home, where you want to install the middleware home, then WebLogic server home, then after that close that input folder and domain template. And you have to issue the command like this. Then make sure you'll get like this. And then after that you can check the installation. Let's see. Just going over there.
Okay.
So vi space silent.xml file. Press I. Okay.
Okay.
If you does not have, you can prepare scratch from like this. Va installer input fields and data value va home where you want to install. Okay.
Okay.
Silent install WLS silent home. Right.
Yeah.
So that is why middleware home. Under that path, it has not been installing the WebLogic server. I'm saving, right? So I
Yeah.
save and quit. Then after that, you can issue like this. Hyphen mode equal to.
Only got silent.
So this silent.xml file to also which is going to be changed to the response file. Dot response instead of silent.
Okay.
Hyphen silent underscore XML. From which path you are getting the silent.xml file, okay?
Yeah.
Then hyphen log equal to So this time it won't ask any parameters. If you does not have any errors, it won't ask any parameters. Silently it is going to be installed. Then after that you'll get the Linux prompt and go to the specified directory. You can check about the installation process. Otherwise, go to the last file. You can check about the installation process whether it is success or failure after completing that installation.
Okay.
Installation in progress. It will take some time. Automatically which installs. Right, which completes, right?
Yeah.
WLS.
I
You'll get the same directory structure, right?
yeah, same directory.
Go to here. See, the installation was successful.
Success.
This is how you are going to be installing in 3 methods. Now let us see how you are going to be installing 12c before we are going to the middleware from directory structure. So I already downloaded 12c also.
Okay.
-mode equal to GUI or whatever it is.
GUI.
No need to be specified
Okay.
-log here because it is displayed on the wizards only.
Oh, okay.
See, it has going to be checking here, able to see actual memory how much and how much it is required. The prerequisites 256
Yeah.
colors. Just now I told you to installing an
Yes.
HVM. And so the swap space actual should be this one. Then if it is a 64-bit, which is not a 64-bit, that is required. That is the reason it is not required. Then so temp space 300 MB is required. So if it is a 12C, 11G means 250 MB. So log files automatically creating onto this file. Okay. See, you'll get like this. So click on OK. You cannot get difference. You cannot get any difference.
Oh, okay.
right? You will get the welcome screen like this. There also you will get the same thing, right? So
Yes, sir.
click on next. You have to be provide the installation home directory where you want to install. Home Linux Oracle middleware under the middleware. You can provide the Oracle from instead of that WLS12c home, right?
Yeah.
So you click on next. So then it does not have anything here. It has going to be shows all the products installations. Okay, able to see here the typical and custom
Yeah.
also which was removed. The moment you click on next
Yes.
here, all these components generally which are going to be installed. The moment you click on save into the response file, it is going to be saved to the response file for installing the silent mode automatically, which creates no need to be prepared. So the
Okay.
moment you click on start install button means it is going to be start the installation, and all these needs to be complete. Installation in progress. See, view the log file from here only. Okay, view the messages and all
Okay.
those, which simplifies the steps. That's it.
Yeah. It's very simple than the earlier version installation.
Yes, three steps only.
Mm.
But if you have the 11G in your environment, if I go with the 12C, so you'll get trouble again.
Yeah, yeah. First we need to understand that. As I said, 11G we need to understand.
No, 11G is the standard version now. There are very less environments which are implementing the 12C.
Mm. But we need to say that we know Dolce as well.
No, you can tell I'm working in a 12C also, no problem.
Okay.
See, you have to be perfect in one version. Easily you can able to, manage with another version.
Okay. But it's taking a little bit of time, no, when compared to 11G.
No, it has to be install all the components, all these components,
Mm.
libraries, and then after that post installation process, everything.
Okay.
See, there are more components installed than 11G. So I have showed you in the previous step generally all those components needs to be installed.
Yes.
In this they will ask one interview question generally, what are the common issues you will able to get while you are installing the WebLogic server environment, while you are setting up the WebLogic server environment.
Mm.
What are the common issues you will get while you are setting up the WebLogic server environment? That is one common question you will able to get. Will get. So generally you will get the space issues and permission issues, permission related issues.
Okay. Space issues in the sense, hard disk space
No, it is
and
not hard disk.
permission issue.
It is not hard disk.
Mm.
See, even if you have the more memory, but which you are allocated very less memory for this, already which has taken some other installations, means that time you will get, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So click on next. Permission issues means whenever you are installing the first time it won't allow. You have to give the permission. See, all these features successfully installed. Understood? Web 2.0
Yeah.
HTTP and all these. And click on finish button. So installation was successfully completed for 12C. Go to the specified path. See all the middleware from directory structure. Okay? So in 12C.
Yeah.
So why it has going to be got late? So it has going to be integrated with the EM console. In this source code, right? So that is the reason it has going to be installed software later on also. Alright. You can unselect if it is required. So this is about how to install the Weblogic server 12C. And remaining methods same like silent mode and all those things. And I told you already there was no console mode in 12C.
Yeah.
This is in WebLogic server installation in way specific installer. So I want to shift to the generic package installer in the sense into the 64-bit operating system. So that is for you. I mean
Okay.
you have the 64-bit, right? Nothing
Yes.
different generally 32-bit installers which are going to support the 4 GB RAM and the installation command was different. The installation command is different with the bit. See, first I need to be check about the it is available right here.
Yeah.
So first I need to be check about the Java. So which is coming generally because I already installed the Java. No worries, okay. So otherwise what I need to do /jrocket. You can install, right? If it does not have. Download the Java to your
Yeah.
local machine. You can install like this following way. You can issue that command. So it will get the welcome screen and so click on next.
I need to install Java, Madam, here.
So this is what I'm doing here. You have to
Okay.
install the Java in 64-bit
But
operating.
but comes under that product only, no? This same Oracle.
No. In 32-bit you will get, but in 64-bit we need to be download.
Okay, separately. Okay. Which version I need to download? 6?
6. This is what JRocket 1.6.045. Otherwise JDK
Okay.
6 also. Sun JDK 6 also. You will get the welcome
Okay.
screen like
Okay.
this. Click on next and where you want to install the Java. That path you have to be specified. Then click on next. Already there.
Already there.
So click on next and click on next. It is going to start the installation. Then after that I need to be set the class path, right? It's the important one.
Yeah.
You can write down
Yes.
these two commands. If you already know, okay. Otherwise you can note down this command.
Okay.
So click on done button. See it's complete installation. See under this. Okay. So what I need to do,
Okay.
I need to be set the our class path. So for permanently setting up that, go to the following path. Bash underscore profile. See you have to be set like this. Export Java home equal to before bin. Okay. Export
Okay.
path equal to Java home / bin. So colon and dollar path. So you have to be set like this. Okay.
Okay.
If you want to, you can note down.
Yeah.
Are you are you taking the note, or I want to?
Yeah. No, no, I'll be taking that later on.
Okay, fine. Save and exit, and you have to be execute the bash underscore profile dot space dot. You have to be execute profile. It is executed. Exit and reopen again. Now you can see. Then after that, Java space hyphen version. So you're getting right.
Yeah.
Then after that, I need to be install the generic file. See here what I need to do. The command should be like this: Java space hyphen jar. Okay. ws1036 underscore generic dot dev. In place of this, you will get the 12c. That's it. 12c generic jar file.
Okay.
So then after that, hyphen mode equal to GI, hyphen log equal to slash home slash Linux desktop, GI dot log. Understood clearly? Up to this only which was different. Up to here only which was different. And rest of the things, rest of the parameters which quite common. And Java installation because it does not pre-packed with the installer file. So it is going to be extracting after a few seconds. It is going to be get the welcome screen. After that, which remains the same process again.
Yeah. Okay.
You will get the welcome screen, right? Same thing.
Yeah.
So click on next. And similarly like that, you can choose the middleware home. Okay. Click on next. So register for the security updates if you have username and password, else you can unselect. So click on continue. So you'll get the choose the installation type like this, critical and custom, and click on next. You can choose the products and components. Click on next. See, this time you does not have any bundled JDK. Just chosen your
Yeah.
default, your local JDK. Okay.
Yeah.
So click on next, and under this path generally the WebLogic server product directory is going to be installed. Click on next and give the installation summary. If you have any changes, click on the previous, undo the changes, and click on next. That's going to start the installation. So nothing will change, right? Everything is the same. Only that command.
Yeah.
And rest of the methods you can continue like that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
This is about how you are going to be installing on the 64-bit operating system.
But you were saying 12c, no? This is 11g.
No, you can use, right? What is the problem with you? In place of this generic file, you can use the 12c.
12c. Okay.
Generic file, you can download it.
Yeah.
Instead of this, you can go with the 12c. The process which remains the same, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Click on done button. See, either it may be a 12c or 11g, what is the matter? The commands and process which remains the same. The generic
Okay.
file,
The majority.
only this should be ought to be downloaded, either it may be 11g or 12c.
Okay.
Right. This is about how you are going to be installing on the 64-bit. If you will get any
64
trouble,
bit.
if you will get any trouble while you are installing the 12c, take the screenshot and forward to me. I'll show you again.
Yeah. Okay.
But next, I'm just moving with that other one. I want to discuss about the middleware form directory structure. The post installation process I want to do. Okay. After completing the installation, so I want to do the post installation process. So whenever I will tell you go to the middleware home, so go to this path. Okay. Up to here we can call it as middleware home. Under that we may have the following directories generally. The first one,
Okay.
coherence. Generally, this directory which contains the coherence related files, and the JDK generally, which contains the software, so which are execute, compile, and debug and compile all the Java applications. For that, which contains the software in the JDK directory, and JRocket, but which is coming from the earlier Sun one, now which is coming from the Oracle only. JRocket JDK generally, which is coming from the Oracle, which contains the software for debugging and compiling the Java applications. And some interviews they will ask, what is the difference between the JDK, Sun JDK, and JRocket? So both are coming from the Oracle only now. So Sun JDK generally, it may have some performance issues. So what are those issues generally? See, whenever you execute some methods, and it has going to be executed and processing the request, and same request you will get the second time. It is again executing and processing. By that, it is going to be consuming the time, and it is going to be degrading the performance. Whereas here, JRocket, it is not like that. Once it is executed, it is going to be keeps into the in-memory. Whenever it will get the same request, it is going to be forwarding that or it is going to be distributing that information, that output. In that way, it is going to be improving the performance. That's the reason by default which use in a development mode Sun JDK, JRocket by default which use in the production mode.
Production one.
So for monitoring and analyzing the memory in the Sun JDK, which we may have the JVisual VM, and for JRocket, which we may have the JRocket mission control. So these are about the differences between the JDK and JRocket. And last directory generally which contains the all Fusion middleware installation process, Fusion middleware products installation process. Then modules directory by default which is going to install some default modules, example Ant. So Ant tool which is going to be installed under the modules directory. Then UTLX directory generally, so under this directory generally which contains the two important directories. One is BSU, how to apply the patches and maintain the patches by executing the BSU.sh. BA Oracle BA Smart Update. There is one important directory which is available. Another one uninstall. So this directory contains the uninstall script. So you can uninstall from the Linux machine. So Weblogic server, right? You should uninstall
Yeah.
that asset. This is the middleware home directory. In the sense, UTL directory which contains the two important directories. Then WL. So then before we are going to this directory, generally I need to be discuss about that registry.xml file. See how, I mean, what are the components and as well as products which are going to be installed, so all those processes which are going to be, recorded to the registry.xml file, right? Complete feasibility
Okay.
product installation process. Then there should be in a .dat also, but it should be in an encrypted format. And domain registry.xml, how many domains which are going to be registered with this middleware home? All those domains generally which are going to be recorded to this XML file. And WL server home generally, this is what we can call it as, WebLogic server home. Whenever I will tell you go to the WL home means under this path. So under this path, which you may have the following common directories generally. The first one common, and second one server and uninstall. These three are the important directories. Go to the common directory. Again, you will get here some directories. See wherever or whenever you can find the bin directory, generally bin directory which contains the executable scripts. Example, common bin directory which contains the config.sh for creating the domain, and as well as how to extending the domain by using the pack and the unpack command, all the commands which are available, right? Those are executable scripts.
Yes.
And deployable
Yes.
libraries means by default deployable libraries which are not available under the directory. So WebLogic Server 11g, which is certified by the Derby database, default database, those files which are available under this. And lib directory which contains the default libraries. And this is what actually node manager form. Under this node manager related files which are available. Quick start means whenever you want to update only the domain, so that time you can go with the quick start. And template means all the default templates. So important entry question. So whenever I want to update the domain, whenever I want to create the domain, so what is the default template under this path which is available? So this is what wls.jar file is the default template. If it does not have the default template, you cannot able to create the domain. Entry question: what is the default template for creating the domain? wls.jar is
WLS.
available under
Yeah.
this path. And among the, I mean, so among them you may have the other templates also. So this is about the common directory. And if you go to that, WLS, the default WLS scripts which are available. Then go to the server. Under this you have the important directory called bin directory. Go to the bin directory generally. Under this we may have the two scripts. One is how to set up the environment variables, and second one is how to start the node manager. Up to WebLogic Server 11g does not have the shutdown scripts for the node manager, right? So we need to be
Yes.
find the process ID, then we need to be kill forcefully. But WebLogic Server 12c onwards, which we may have the stop script for the node manager also. Start how we had similarly like that we may have the stop script also. So that is
Okay.
about then coming to that lib directory. Go to the lib directory. All the common libraries which you can able to keep under the server lib only. Right? All the default demo certificates and everything which are available under the see
Lib.
demo.jks, demo.identity.jks, all those certificates and all those default libraries including the database which are available under this server lib directory. So in some interviews they are going to be asked, can you list some of the jar files in the WebLogic server? You can take some jar files and you can tell to them. Okay.
Okay.
And so generally plugins which contains the Apache plugins depends on the platform. So that is about the server directory. Then go to the uninstall directory. You can uninstall the WebLogic server from the middleware home, otherwise from the WL home also. Same script it has going to be
Okay.
called. This is how this is what middleware home WL server home directory structure. Understood clearly? Post
Yeah.
installation process. Then
Yes.
after, so what is the domain generally? So what is the domain? Can you understand my
Domain.
point? What is domain?
Domain.
What is server? And what are the types of servers which are available? And what is the difference between the admin and managing servers? Understood my point?
Yeah.
Right. So what is a domain generally? Domain is nothing but what you know. So logically, it is going to be grouping all the WebLogic server resources like server, cluster, JDBC, JMS, and deployment, and that you manage as a unit. So that is we can call it as domain. Okay. So generally,
Okay.
domain it has going to be facilitates one point of administration. So whenever you start the domain, so you can able to do all the administration from the domain. So generally, in WebLogic server, domain is going to be separated like dev domain, test domain, staging domain, and production domain like that, right? So this is what architecture of the domain generally. See some of the servers which are in cluster, some of the servers which are not in a cluster. Understood?
Yeah.
So why the domains are going to be divided like this? So it is organizational division first point. In other words, it has applications are going to be transparent to the different target environments. So, administration and operational responsibilities purpose domain is going to be divided into the different purpose. That is the reason we are going to be creating the domain. So, what is a server generally? A server is nothing but it is a runtime instance which requires the following information or which requires the following information. The first one, dedicated RAM and dedicated amount of machine. So these two things are which required for in running the server, right? What is a server?
Yeah.
Server is nothing but it's a runtime instance. In other words, server is an instance of WebLogic server which executes in the JVM. What is the JVM generally? JVM is nothing but Java Virtual Machine, which is going to be executing machine code to byte code, converting machine code to byte code at runtime. And to run the server generally, which requires a dedicated amount of RAM and a dedicated machine. Whenever you are running the server means indirectly you are running the JVM only, right?
Yeah.
So there are two types of servers which are available in the WebLogic server. One is administration server, second one is manager server. First we will discuss about the administration server. So what is the administration server generally? See, admin server is nothing but it is a central point of administration or central point of control for the domain. Whenever you start the admin server, then obviously you are starting the domain only, right?
Okay.
So all the information and all the configuration information regarding the domain and its logs, which is going to be stored in administration server. And
Okay.
from WebLogic server 9.x onwards, which is not recommended admin server to set target to the production applications, which is purely used for monitoring and administrating purpose only. So whenever you run the administration server, then only you can able to access the administration console. Else you cannot. And
Okay.
so the other one, so regarding the manager servers generally, so manager server configuration also it has going to be sourced under the admin server only, right? There is only one
Yeah.
administration server for each domain. There is only one administration server, each domain. So that is
Okay.
about the, administration server. And after that, what is the manager server generally? Any other server instance in the domain other than the admin server, we can call it as manager server. So there could be more than one manager server which is available in the domain. So whenever you start the manager server for getting its configuration information, which are going to be contacts the admin server for configuration information. So at the time of booting, okay. See
Okay.
other important point, manager servers which are used runs the business applications in the production environment. So this is about the manager server. And most of the interviews they'll ask the question like this: what is the difference between the admin and manager server? What are the types of servers which are available in the WebLogic server? What is the domain and what are the purpose to create the domains? Clear?
Yeah.
So after completing this one, how you can able to set up the WebLogic server domain? How to set up the
WebLogic server domain.
right? What are the methods actually? The first one using GUI mode. Second one using console mode. This was removed in the WebLogic server tools. And third
Console.
method using
Template.
that here so these are the methods which you have to set up the Weblogic server domain. So first method we'll able to
Yeah.
do. For that, go to the following path. See under this you can
Yeah.
include config.sh hyphen mode equal to
GUI.
hyphen log equal to
Linux desktop. Okay.
wherever you wish you can install you can keep the
Okay.
config.
Okay. Okay.
This simple. So after a few seconds you will get the welcome screen.
Okay.
To create the new WebLogic domain. You already created a domain. You want to add new components to the existing domain. That time you will go to the existing and extend an existing WebLogic domain, right? So click on
Yes.
next. See, select the domain source. By default, it will take wls.jar. Click on next. Even whenever you want to get any requirement like to deploy the applications, web services applications, that time you can able to select the remaining these options also. Okay, web services,
Okay.
and click on next. What is the default domain name? Base underscore domain. So these are the things actually they are going to be testing you. So where it has going to be created the domain under this path. User underscore projects directory which has going to be created whenever you are creating the domain. So otherwise it won't create. User underscore
Yeah.
projects. So
User underscore. Okay.
click on next. Configure the administrator username and password. Username should be username should be characters only and password should be alphanumeric.
Okay.
Then click on next. See, configure the server startup mode. Either it may be a development mode and production mode. And very, very important interview question. So, what is the difference between the development mode and production mode? Important interview question.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. It's a definite question.
Yes. Any idea?
Uh, we have lock and edit feature will be there.
Right. The first difference.
Auto something like auto
Wait.
console will be enabled.
Okay. In development mode, whenever you want to start admin server, does not require username and password.
Yeah,
But whereas in production mode, it requires.
it asks for username and password.
It requires. Okay. That is first one.
Okay.
Second one, so in development mode, so lock, lock and edit button, which is not available. whereas in production mode, it is available.
Here, JRocket will be used now in this
Which is
development.
there. Then third difference, in development mode, there is auto deploy feature, whereas in production mode, disabled. And fourth one, generally in development mode, the default JDK, run JDK in production mode, whereas in production mode,
JRocket.
next. Any other differences? In development mode, the default threads are 15, whereas in production mode, 25.
Yeah, JDBC thread.
No, yes,
Connections.
threads are different and connections are different.
Oh, okay.
For processing the request, in development mode, the default log file size is 500 KB, whereas in production mode, 5000 KB, in other words, 5 MB.
Okay.
Default JDBC connections are 15, whereas in production mode, 25.
Same, no threads and connections, like same.
Yes, threads and connection means, see, this is all for processing the request, threads. You can configure by using the work manager, so it's a different story, which you can able to configure by using the connection file.
Okay.
In development mode, whenever use the demo SSL certificate, does not get any warnings. Whereas in production mode, will get warnings. Okay.
Okay.
So the default log file mode is in development mode, in debug, whereas in production mode, info. So these are the differences in between the development mode and production mode. You have to be tell like this only, because all the differences I have covered here.
Okay.
And
Step by step
you have to be tell. And if you will tell like this, what is lock and edit button? Why it was there? They are asking next question.
Yeah.
So then whenever you tell this one, so how you can able to resize the connection pools at runtime whenever application is needed. And this is also how we can able to resize the threads whenever it needed. So these are the questions again you will get. So whenever you tell these differences. That
And this
will
SSL, in this SSL certificate also, we get warnings, right? They'll be asking, they might be asking that what are the warnings, maybe.
No, warning means it throws. No, these are the demo SSL certificates like you are using like that.
Okay.
It throws like some warnings. In the sense, warnings means it cannot stop the process, that you can understand first point. So it has given caution to you. So you can pay attention towards those warnings. Then if you cannot pay as an administrator, attention towards that warnings, gradually it is going to lead to the errors or bottlenecks.
Errors. Oh.
Alright, so for testing purpose, you can tell it the development mode. and see automatically it changes the JDK. And
Yeah.
if it does not like, you can, if you don't want, you no need to, if you don't want to use these, you will go with the third other JDK also, which is already installed in your machine. Click on next, select the optional configurations, click on next, configure the admin server name and region address. What is the default port number for the Weblogic server?
7001.
If you want, you can change it.
Okay.
Click on next, configure the manager servers. See, each time we need to be give a 10-10 gap, because in production environment, you get some time to add servers, right?
Yeah.
So all the time, no need to be look for, at that case, no need to be look for the port numbers. Click on next. You can configure cluster later. Click on next. Click on next. So do the configuration summary and click on create button.
Okay.
Switch is created completely and click on done button. This is first method. And we can able to verify domain creation was
Successful.
right. So next what I need to do, I'll go with the second method, right? Using the console mode.
Yeah. Console.
So this was removed in Weblogic Server 12c, okay?
Yeah.
So you will get the wizards like this. Click on next and select the domain source. It will take the default one. Click on next and click on next. So what is the default domain name? Base domain. I want to change it.
Yes.
Prod domain. So click on next. Okay. So under that path domain is going to be created. Click on next. You have to be configure the administrator username and password. Press 1, enter the username. Press 2, enter the password. And press 3, enter the confirm the password. And after that, click on next. Choose either it may be a development mode or production mode. This time I'm choosing the production mode. And click on next and select the optional configuration. Press 1. So I want to configure the administrator server name. Press 1. So enter the admin server name. Press 2 listen address and enter 3. So port number. Okay. And go to the previous and you can select the manager server. You can configure the manager servers also. And click on next. It is going to create the domain and domain created successfully. Understood that clearly using the console mode?
Yeah.
Click on here. Yeah. Domain generation successful. See, we can able to go through that. See, before I'm going to the third method, so I will how you are going to be installing the domain. So in 12c there is also label issue. Okay.
Okay.
So under the same path only, right?
Yes, common bin. Yeah.
So same script.
Config.sh.
Even you will give your iPhone mode equal console, it will going to be start in a silent mode only. J mode only.
Console mode. Okay. By default, it starts GI mode, is it?
No, there is no console mode. There is no console mode in Weblogic Server 12c. Even if you give the console mode, it is going to start GI mode.
Okay. Got it.
Right, same like that. You can create the new domain or update an existing domain. Right? Same options.
Yeah.
So by default, it is going to store under this. You can change the domain name also. 12c domain. Okay.
Okay.
Click on next. So click on next. See, you have to be select the templates. This is what default
Okay.
template. Default template, which is already selected. Click on next. So configure the administrator username, right?
Yeah.
And password also you can specify. Click on next.
Okay.
Choose the domain mode, development mode or production mode. I'm choosing the production mode, right? Click on
Yeah.
next and configure the administrator. So additionally, you got only one thing: node manager configuration. If you select the node manager, it is going to be configure the node manager also.
Okay.
Click on next. Configure the administrator name and as well as login address. And I'm just leaving 7001. Click on next. Configure the manager servers like this. I mean, you want you can configure. Click on next. Cluster you can configure. Click on next. Mission. So it is going to be reviewing the summary. And click on create button.
Mhm. The previous version, it's not showing node manager, no? That one, 10 point, that
That
11
only
zero.
that only I told you.
Okay.
Node manager was introduced configuring from the GUI mode while you are installing from 12C onwards.
12 CMS. Okay. So another difference.
Like this, you will get the differences, but you cannot get like the drastic changes.
Okay.
So only few differences, like some are added, some are
Um,
removed. And again, other important one, it is going to be supporting the cloud service.
okay.
Which complete site? Click on next and click on done button, finish button. Understood?
Okay. Yeah.
So then after that, you can go with a different method also, like it's a template based domain creation also. Oracle, IBM Home, user price, domains, IBM domain. See, whenever I will go to the domain home is go to that part. So under this you may have the following directories. So this is what actually I am explaining about the domain directory structure. Auto deployments. This feature is enabled only in a development mode and not in a production mode. Whenever you place the applications under this directory, automatically which is going to be deployed into the Weblogic server admin console and targeted to the admin server. So why it is
Okay.
going to be enabled only in a development mode? Developers they are going to be deploy and test the applications quickly, and they want to do some experiment with those applications. For that reason, they are going to be enabled only in development mode.
Auto deploy. Okay.
Auto deploy feature and bin directory
I mean,
generally
yeah.
bin directory
Applications are placed into auto deploy folder, right? The developers will place applications which are
it
to be
will
deployed. Okay.
show you in a deployment. Actually, this is also
Okay.
one of the method. You just
Okay.
copy under the auto deploy directory, automatically which deploys.
Mm-hmm.
And target also is selected.
Mm-hmm.
So bin directory generally which contains all executable scripts for starting admin and as well as managing server instances. And whenever you have a in 12c, even you may have the script called start and stop the node manager under the bin only, right?
Yes.
So config directory generally which contains the configuration directory, which contains the all configurations, important configuration. So important interview question: what is the main configuration file or centralized configuration file for the WebLogic server? So config.xml. Every configuration which is going to be persisted to this config.xml file. If config.xml is corrupted, you can not able to start the servers and all the services. And apart from that, it is going to store all the services in those individual directories also. So then init info, which contains the server initialization information, console icon ext, which contains the console extensions, admin console extensions, unlib directory, which contains the library specific to this domain only, and security directory, which contains the global security files, which are going to be created whenever you create the domain. All these security files. Right, servers under the server directory generally, which contains all servers. So how many servers you created? That means servers which are going to be displaying under the servers directory.
Okay.
Then this is about the domain home directory structure. So how to verify the domain home directory structure generally? Go to the domain home bin. So pwd, I want to start the Weblogic server. Right? I'm starting.
Oh. Many servers will be there in the servers only, for the servers folders only.
All servers.
Okay.
Right. So make sure the server state coming into the running mode. Then go to the applications, Internet, Firefox, you can open, launch the browser. So what is my URL? 5001, I guess, where it is, right. So how to access URL is http:/host name, localhost, and port number, admin port number, 5001/console. Like enter username and password and login. Click on login. This is whenever you start the domain in a development mode. Okay, it would be look like this. Okay. Whenever I want to start a domain in production mode, it is going to be asked the username and password, right? First difference.
Yes. Here you have two Linux sessions, 2, 1, 2, 3.
What two Linux sessions?
Bottom I can see Linux host name, host 1, 2, 3.
That is terminals I opened. Terminals.
Terminals. Okay.
You can create a machine. You can open. It's a local machine, right?
Yeah. Now it asks for username and password.
Right. So in development mode, it won't ask, right?
Yeah.
See, initializing the thread pools. I told you, right? Default threads. 15 in development mode, 25 in production mode. Automatically, which initializes.
Yeah.
Go to your make sure you get running mode. Localhost :9001/console. This is as generally which is going to be started in a production mode. How you can come to know whether it is started in a development mode or in production mode? Starting only you will get come to know. Right?
Yeah. That 9001 is default port.
No, admin server port number I gave you right at the time of configuring the administration server account.
Okay.
Yeah. Default one 701. 7001. See, you'll get additionally this one second difference, okay? Lock and edit button. See, that I will able to display. Lock and edit button means generally So all the options which are going to be in a disabled mode by default, which cannot be able to enable. You need to lock the session actually. The moment you click on lock and edit button, it is going to be enabled the service, right? All the services. So click on new and you
Okay.
can configure the server generally, So then after that, click on next and click on finish button. See, I have configured the server. So these changes cannot activate instantly. See the state in unknown, right? Because the
Yeah.
changes are requested but not yet activated. For activating and the changes which are going to be persisted into the config.xml when it is the moment I click on the active changes. If I do anything wrong, I
Okay.
just click on the undo all changes. Click on active changes, which are going to be
Mm.
to unknown to shutdown state. That is the
Shutdown
reason.
state.
Yes, that is the reason they kept in the production mode login,
Lock and edit.
right? In development mode, it won't
Yeah.
ask. Directly, it is going to be persistent to the config.xml. So
Okay.
let's we see. So I can able to start the domain intervals. Able to see here stop node manager data sets,
Yeah.
start node manager data sets. Earlier does not have.
Yes.
If you able to see this 11g, is there any start node manager data sets and stop node manager
No.
data sets? No.
No.
Next which comes into the running state and go to here. So which is going to be asking the username and password, right?
Yeah.
See thread pulls automatically initializing memory. Right. See what is the error here? Username and password which is does not match.
Denied.
Does not match to whatever I have provided.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I can see some boot identity also.
That is what boot identity means. Username and password only.
Okay.
Boot identity invalid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Invalid
yeah.
boot identity.
Boot identity. Yes, yes.
Clearly said, right? Authentication failed. This comes into the running state, right? This comes into the running state.
Yeah.
Go to here. You will get like this.
Okay.
Look and feel which was changed more actually than 11g12c.
Yeah, it's looking great.
See, what are the options here? It's CM in even 12C also. See, good to see. The
Yeah,
only one thing they were added into the 12C at the cluster level only. So, which you may have your server templates additionally, coherence cluster, which was there even 11G also. The moment you click on the cluster, so which will have the cluster types actually. See, cluster dynamic clusters. This is only the new feature which is added, right?
okay.
So this is
Yeah,
this is about the 12C console, and we have verified all the creations, right? All the configurations.
yeah.
And third method of domain creation I have not completed yet. So I'm stopping here. We'll start tomorrow. Third method. Okay. You can
Okay.
you can go through it because I can go, but you'll get confused. Just practice it.
Sure, sure.
I can go. I don't have any problem. So I will take another half an hour. I can finish it, but you'll get confused actually. You can practice it till whatever I have completed, and tomorrow I can complete third method, and I can discuss about that. What happens whenever the admin server is goes down? What is the manager server independence mode? What is the configuration change process? Then what is the WebLogic server life cycle? What is the administration console capabilities? Right?
Mm. Yeah,
So what is the JNDA? That part we'll be able to discuss tomorrow.
okay.